Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Tori, and today I'm going to be talking candidly, openly, real, raw about my experience on Zoloft. This is just my personal experience, so this isn't advice. This is just how it's been for me. So yeah, I guess let's get into the real raw story time with Tori time about my experiences, my symptoms, my side effects, my reasons for getting on it. This is not me recommending you get on it or anything like that. I have been taking Zoloft for about 9 months. Anxiety is why I am on this medication. However, this was not the first time. I was actually on it in 2018 when I was 19 years old, and I was on it for about a year and a half, and I loved it. I felt so good on Zoloft. I felt so mentally well as I could be for 19 years old. And I just kind of quit it cold turkey, and I don't know why. Again, 19 years old, you literally don't know a single thing, but you think you know everything. I knew nothing, of course. So flash forward 2 years ago, when I moved to LA, I was very, very, very unwell. I just felt miserable. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just because I moved to a new place, such a big city. I moved here, I didn't know anyone. I hadn't even visited here before I moved here. So it was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I was so filled with anxiety. I couldn't even go to the grocery store without nearly having a panic attack. It was so terrible. Like, it just felt terrible. And I'm laughing now because I'm better, but like back then, would I joke about it? Yeah, maybe sometimes, but I shouldn't have been because I was so mentally unwell. And so I was just telling myself, you're not giving this a fair shot. You just have to keep trying harder. And so I did. I tried really hard. I would go out to baseball games. I would go out to new restaurants, new cities, put my efforts into YouTube. I was pushing myself so hard. When I realized that that didn't help, I became more depressed because I was like, why isn't anything helping? Like, I would sit in my bathtub over here, empty bathtub, just sit there. Like, I don't know what I was on, but I was like depressed. Like, seriously, I was like so down bad. Part of me was a little bit embarrassed because I know a lot of people dream about coming to LA, and I was like, is there something wrong with me? Why am I so miserable? And I was just disappointed in myself. So I tried really hard to not let anyone in on exactly what I was going through, which is stupid because like if you're struggling, it's okay. Everyone struggles, but I just couldn't do it. I had to get there on my own, unfortunately, but I did, obviously. Hello. I distinctly remember the second my perspective flipped and I was like, I am not living life. I'm not living at all. I'm so miserable. I'm so sad, and I needed something to change. I went to my boyfriend to Maui, which is where he's from. We visit there quite often, and I like looked around and I was like, I'm surrounded by his family, my boyfriend, like so much love, such a beautiful place, and I'm miserable. And that's when I kind of decided that things needed to change. So after my trip to Maui, I came back to LA and I booked an appointment with my doctor, and I talked to her about getting back on Zoloft. I'm so grateful for her. She was so kind, and she was like, okay, what do we need to do? What steps do we need to take? And within that week, I had my first dose of Zoloft. So at first I was taking 50 milligrams, and back in 2018, I was taking 100, and I told her that. So she was like, okay, if that worked for you, we'll try it again. We'll just work our way up. And boy, did I have some side effects. Let me say this first. These haven't lasted the whole time. It was just when my body was getting used to it, but boy, was it an adjustment. Even being on it for a week, I was extremely tired. I don't mean like, oh, like I'm sleepy. It was like every night I could expect to sleep between 12 and 16 hours. Nights in a row, I would be sleeping 16 hours. I was barely awake some days. I felt like I was missing out on a lot of life, but at the same time, I didn't feel too guilty about it because I felt like my body was finally relaxing. I don't need to be fight or flight 24/7. It really did feel good to sleep. But at some point I was like, okay, this is getting to be a lot. That went on for like a month. As the month came to an end, it was getting a little bit less and less. Instead of sleeping 16 hours, I would sleep 12 or 14. So I was still getting too much sleep, but it was slowing down a bit. And of course, as my doctor recommended, I did up my dose to the full 100 milligrams. It was like such an internal debate of like, do I do this? Do I not? Because I could tell I was starting to get used to the 50 milligrams, but then I was like, you know, whatever. We're just gonna up it. And then of course, it kind of restarted the cycle of sleeping nonstop. It wasn't as bad, but it was still 10 to 14 hours a night. Another side effect that I had that I didn't realize I had until a little bit later on, I realized that I felt so numb during the first few months of taking Zoloft, but it wasn't like a I feel nothing kind of numb. It was like a good numb. Okay, let me, this sounds crazy, but this is just my personal experience on Zoloft, okay? It's like I felt so good. I almost felt invincible. Not invincible, not that drastic, but really good. God, I hope my doctor doesn't see this. She's probably gonna be like, why wouldn't you tell me that? Girl, I worked through it. I felt like my brain was developing at like a rapid speed. I feel like I woke up finally. It was such a crazy, crazy experience. So indescribable. It was really crazy, which sounds good because of course I hadn't been feeling that good in such a long time that it was like overwhelming how good I felt. I felt like I had a 30-year-old brain in my 24-year-old body. I don't know. I don't know if everyone else has this experience or if anyone else had this experience, but girl, I lived it. It's great and all until a few weeks in of feeling so good, I kind of realized that I had lost my compassion. I was numb to the point of I didn't really give as much sympathy, apathy, empathy, whatever you want to call it. I didn't really give much of that because I was just like numb. I was numb. Good numb, but like numb, if that makes sense. So then once I realized I was acting like that, and it wasn't like anything crazy, you know, but I was able to be like, okay, let's tone that down a little bit. Earth to Tori, come back. That godlike numbness. I feel like I need to be in a case study. Ugh. Okay, that period only lasted about a month and then I just felt normal, healthy, a type of healthy I haven't felt in a extremely long time, which made me kind of sad to realize how bad it had been and how bad I felt. But I, more than anything, was so grateful that I took the leap of going on medicine and reaching out to my doctor and all of that. I like talked to my mom about this and all of that, and I had the support of her, my best friend, my boyfriend, my roommates. Like, everyone was so supportive and it really made a huge difference. So not to get all sappy like that, but it was a time for sure. I don't know who she was, but like I miss her. I love her, but I don't ever want to be her. It was good because I needed it because I didn't feel like that good for such a long time, but it wasn't sustainable for me personally. So flash forward to now, I'm like very leveled out. I'm back to a good normal. My body has just really gotten used to the Zoloft and I am so grateful. I cannot stress how life-changing Zoloft has been for me. Of course, mental health and medicine are less stigmatized now than they were even a few years ago, but it is difficult to think, do I need to be on medicine my entire life so that I don't feel in a constant state of depression or just like sheer anxiety? And the thing is, that's a future Tori problem. That's not a now Tori problem because I'm good. I am feeling so much healthier than I have ever felt, probably in my entire like adult life. As cringe as it is, I'm so grateful. And to like put it into perspective a little bit more than I already have, I feel like I can feel the wind blow. I feel like I can wiggle my toes in my shoes and I can actually feel it. Even now, I'm reading. I read a new book like every 2 days. And before the Zoloft, I couldn't sit and focus on reading the words on a page because I was so down bad. It felt so unhealthy, and now I'm actually able to participate in life and experience it. Of course, I still have bad days. Everyone does, but the bad days are not as bad, and that is the most that I could wish for. Besides that, I have taken a lot of other steps for my mental health as well. Like, I'm in therapy. I journal quite often. I do little artsy projects for myself. I exercise more now. I'm trying to eat healthier. All of this has culminated into this who you're looking at right now, and I am so proud of myself and so grateful. So I'm trying to find like the pieces of myself that I lost throughout my dark days. That's what I like to call them, like my dark days where I just feel like I completely lost myself. But I'm starting to find her here and there, and it's been good to get back to myself. And I know that medicine is not for everybody. Like, don't get me wrong, I know it's not. For some people it is, and that is okay. I cannot express how much I love Zoloft. I think I did kind of a good job of expressing how much I love her. I know medicine is not for everyone, and that is okay, but I will say that I think the most worthwhile thing in this entire world is to take care of yourself. You know, whether that's talking to a friend, talking to your parents, talking to a doctor, getting on medicine, therapy, taking up running, journaling, whatever that may be, whatever that looks like for you, I think it is so worthwhile. And I don't know if this is like something you're supposed to say in your YouTube videos when you talk about stuff like this, but every video I see that is like this, everyone's like, I'm not a doctor. So I'll say this is not medical advice and I am not a doctor. I don't know if that's a formality thing or if that's like a don't sue me kind of thing. Anyways, thanks for the chat and I will see you next Friday. Okay, bye. Take care of yourself. I'm serious. That's so cringe. Okay, but it's not. It is, but it's not. It is. Bye.